while, I was going to eat something. So every half hour on the hour, I would have like a snacky type food. And every hour I would have more like a meal, if you want to call it that type food. It was probably about 400 calories an hour or so, was I thinking. The snacks I had were like cookies. I did have fettuccine Alfredo out there. I learned that you can't really, it wasn't practical because I had to try to dump the bowl in my mouth because I wasn't sitting there like taking my time. I was trying to limit how much time I was spending eating. And later on, I couldn't even sit at all. So I would just take the sandwich and rip it. But I would have peanut butter and jelly, fettuccine Alfredo. I didn't actually do pizza because I don't think that worked on my practices that well. Lots of Oreos, Coke. I had 7,000 calories throughout the whole time.
Wow.
So,
over the 27 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The eating portion was just as well planned out. And during the actual paddle, my crew like was on point with it. Literally, like I told them what I needed. They knew what I had. I knew what I was in the mood for because later on in the paddle, I kind of started getting a little moodier, like for what I was gonna want. But they were ready. I would paddle over to the boat. They would hand me a cookie or whatever I wanted. And then I would stuff it in my mouth and go. So they were on point and they really kept it because I said, no matter what happens, make sure I eat every half hour, no matter what. Later on, like maybe when I had 4 hours left or so, it became really hard to eat. And so I kind of just, in a way, like stopped a little bit. And they still were feeding me like those baby food squeezy packets, just more like liquidy stuff. And I had liquid with carbohydrate in my pack as well with electrolytes, the Tailwind supplementation. But yeah, the end part was hard and I definitely didn't want to eat anymore. But I have to tell you, it kept me going. Like thinking about that next Oreo was like, I was excited. I'm like, is it Oreo time yet?
Wait, is that the video you sent where they were almost, I think they put an Oreo on a fishing pole or a fishing line and they were kind of teasing you?
You know those little grabbers that you grab when you have a bad back, you can't reach down or something?
Yeah.
They put an Oreo on that and they held it out in front of me trying to make me paddle faster.
What was the fluid volume about approximately? Do you know? Over that 27 hours, we got about 7,000 calories.
I remember the amount of fluid, but my pack was 1.5 liters.
Okay.
And I did a pack change every like 3 hours. Shoot, I should have looked, but
yeah, no, just curious if it, just to fill in everyone about just how much has to be consumed in order to do that, because the water turnover is high. Even if you're not profusely sweating, you're losing a lot of water.
You're losing it. And it was interesting because I did pee a lot. So I knew I was hydrated, so that was good.
That's good.
And
you're in the ocean.
I was drinking like, I think a pack every 2 to 3 hours. So 1.5 liters every 2 to 3 hours, mostly Tailwind, mostly a supplement in there. Only a couple times I had water and like at the end, they were giving me Coke and Red Bull. Like they would just like give me some Coca-Cola, pour it in my mouth. Red Bull, they tried to pour in my mouth and got up my nose. So I kind of snorted it.
Well, hey, Coca-Cola, defizz Coca-Cola is actually something cyclists have used for a while, particularly near the end of a race. They like the sugar, they like the caffeine.